Hi, it's me, Reedy. Welcome to Beat the First Man. This is my trusty sidekick, Ted. What have we got for you on this week's show? Well, we have got, as usual, How Old. This week it heads back to Scotland. We've got Ted giving out his Little Knob of the Week award. We can find out whether I've closed the gap in guest fee knowledge, and we've got guitarist Kevin Kavanagh from Coventry band Senses on Zooming In. So what are we waiting for? Play the Little Footballs on Fire and the theme tune. Bring it on. Let's get the show on the road. So, here we are, another episode then, episode 28. Once again, thanks to all of you who carry on watching my little show. To those of you who subscribed, thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed and you like what you see, please click the subscribe button below. Please give me the old thumbs up and put all your comments in below. I do respond to every single comment. And today's show features a little snippet for somebody who wanted to see something in this week's show, just to prove that I'll follow up on my promises. So anyway, let's get on board the BTFM bus and let's get this week's show rolling, shall we? So Stoke Gabriel update. Looks like null and void is happening. The vote has been passed now. It's just gone to the FA for ratification. So the shirt remains on till it's official, but it does look like it's null and void. On the positive, we are staying up. So we are staying up. Yep, Stoke Gabriel will be staying up, avoiding relegation despite the horrific start to the season. So we'll keep you updated on that as always. So let's start the game we all love then. Our old favourite, How Old. This week we head back north of the border to sunny Scotland. And we go to a team that plays its game at the National Stadium, Queen's Park FC, the Thin Hoops, and Michael Gillespie, a man who made 71 appearances for the club. But the real question about Michael Gillespie is when this photo was taken, how old was he? So we'll come back to that later in the show. Have you guess how old does he look when that photo was taken? How old actually was he when that photo was taken? All to be revealed later on. So time for the real star of the show. Just wake him up, he's a bit sleepy today. Right, Ted, how you doing, my old friend? Yes, I'm very good, sir. This is very posh, very professional, very polite. You alright, Ted? One moment, sir. Last week you claimed I was some sort of tradesman from a market stall. Now you have an issue with my well-spoken tongue. Not at all, Ted. I'm just not going to lie, it caught me out a little bit, to be honest with you. It's not your normal sarcasm and put-downs that I've been getting from you since we started this show, since you joined the team. Not from me, Squire. I've been too busy all week clay pigeons shooting and dusting off my chandeliers. Oh, okay. Right, Ted. Anyway, who's going to be the recipient of your Little Knob of the Week award for this week, then? I have given it careful consideration, but I've decided that the winner of the Small Door Handle of the Last 7 Days award goes to another collective. Is this the real Ted? Yeah, well, Ted, that's lovely, but I'm afraid it'll always be the Little Knob of the Week award, despite your protestations. So who's the collective who's won it last week? And no, I don't need explaining what a collective is. This week, it's Premier League footballers who have fantasy football leagues within their club but decide to not make them private. Ah, yes. So the story that broke last week when Aston Villa, Jack Grealish was ruled out of their game last week against Leicester. And Dean Smith wasn't happy, kicked off, moaning that there was a leak within the dressing room and let the news out. Well, it turns out it was some of his first team squad, his fitness coach, I believe it was the sports scientist or one of the backroom team anyway. They'd all transferred Jack Grealish out of their fantasy football team on the Friday, which made it pretty obvious that he wasn't going to be playing. So actually, the leak wasn't really a leak, it was just quite open. I mean, fantasy football, got no problem with the players having fantasy football leagues. Make them private, lads, eh? Be a bit sensible about it, so we all know. Or, on the other hand, maybe just keep letting us know. We can change our teams. So, yeah, I can't disagree with it, Ted. Premier League footballers who have public fantasy football leagues, Knob of the Week award. So anyway, are you coming back later, Ted, or what? Or is this it for this week? Have you got to go off and do some more posh stuff? Yes, sir. I'm going to return for that part where you try to attain the age of a male by looking at a photo. Ciao for now. I'm not sure I like Ted like this. It's hurting my brain a little bit, if I'm being honest. Enough. That's just rude. Of course it's a brain. This is what brings you this shit every week, this brain. It works overtime all the time. Anyway, time for a little something we've not done for a while. If it plays. Thank you. That was your classic non-editing there, if it plays. It's because I pressed the button and it didn't bloody play, did it? See, that's what you get with this. From day one to now, it's the same. There'll be cock-ups, there always will be. So, Tales of the Unexpected, we'd say. We've not had one for a while. This week's is a belter. This is my favourite ever Tales of the Unexpected. That's high praise. There's been some beauties amongst Tales of the Unexpected. Remember Johnny Baggio from Show 2? Still one of my favourites, but this one has overtaken it. So I'm not going to build it up too much. All I'm going to say, let's head to Guatemala, where there's a game going on. Roll the video.
Sale ruleta, amigos. El número 3 tiene 200.
Yeah, it was a beauty, wasn't it? So it's so good. It doesn't even. Hey, there's two things. He doesn't make a good job of pretending he's been hurt by the item that's been thrown from the crowd. But I love the opposition guy who just picks it up and lobs it back. It's brilliant. So good. But so that was the Tales of the Unexpected. Definitely one of my favourite ones of all time that we've done on this show. So Guatemala, you've come up trumps. So anyway, time for a bit of zooming in. And earlier on in the week, I had a great chat, a top lad. Kevin Kavanagh is the guitarist with Coventry-based band Senses, not The Senses, as you'll find out when we get into the chat. At the end of the chat, there will be a couple of clips of their tunes for you to enjoy as well. So I'm going to go and give Ted's head a little wobble, see if we can bring the normal Ted back, while you guys settle down and watch Zooming In. We'll see you afterwards.
So welcome to another segment of Zooming In. This week I'm delighted to say I'm joined by a guitarist from Coventry-based band Senses. Welcome to the show, Kevin Kavanagh. How are you, Kev?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you, Matt?
Yes, not too bad at all, thank you. So before we delve into the footballing world and your love of Coventry City and everything sky blue, here's your chance. There will be people out there who don't know about Senses, so plug away, my friend.
Yeah, as you say, we're a Coventry-based band. We made a few waves back in the day towards the late 2000s, where we did a live session on Janice Long on Radio 2. We had Radio 1 playing, XFM play. We recorded an album with Gavin Monaghan, who's done stuff with Editors and the Twang and stuff. But we kind of got into a bit of a rut and we got into a few wrangles with labels and stuff, and it just all petered out. And with what's been going on over the last year, we just thought now's a good time to get things out and actually do something with it. It was too good to sit on. So yeah. we thought we'll go and see what's what.
Yeah, I must admit, I mean, obviously, I sort of got to know you through Twitter as I've been putting feeders out for bands to come on. And Drop Your Arms is absolutely, and I'm not just saying it because you're on it, it's brilliant. And once you've listened to it once, you literally have to keep playing it because it's so good. It's just annoyingly catchy.
Thank you.
It is. It's not blowing smoke up your backside or anything. Have it? It genuinely is.
Don't worry about that.
So the band name Senses, where did that come from?
Well, Christ, this is going back a few years and stuff. Originally, we were a 5-piece band and stuff. And it was around the time that the Strokes and stuff like that were kicking off, and we were actually called The Senses. Then the drummer left in about 2007, I think, and we've always loved bands like Slow Dive, Ride, Spiritualize, where it was just one word. And we were just like, well, Senses works on its own. Do you know what I mean? So it seemed to make sense. We'll drop the and just carry on like that.
And genuinely, how many people still call you The Senses?
Too many.
And you pull them up every time.
I try not to, because I do it myself sometimes and stuff. It's hard when you're doing it.
So obviously we've all been in lockdown for pretty much a year now. So how much are you guys missing playing live and performing?
Well, I suppose it's a strange one for us, whereas a lot of bands have kind of hibernated over lockdown and stuff. If anything, it's rejuvenated us. We kind of, I think malaise set in towards the end and it just kind of became more like a job and stuff. And it was like, we didn't really want to do it anymore. Life got in the way and stuff, and just the enjoyment had gone out of it. Whereas with lockdown, I think it's made you reassess as to what's important in your life. So the band started, myself, Vinny, Ro and Brian, we've been mates since we were kids. We all went to school together and possibly grew apart after the band finished the first time. And if anything, I think, as I say, we've reevaluated what's important in life and stuff. So we started speaking, got into contact with Gavin Monaghan again, and we knew the album was good, and it was too good just to sit on. So we thought we need to actually get out and finish it well. And on that basis, Gavin's done a fantastic job in terms of remixing it and remastering it. At the time when we recorded it, things were kind of a bit claustrophobic. All the sounds were claustrophobic, whereas I think having grown with the songs over the years, we realised what they could have become, and I think we finally realised that. So we're really looking forward to getting the album out now in the summer.
Brilliant. I think, and you make a pretty good point there. I think lockdown, if one thing, there's obviously a lot of negatives to lockdown. You know, we could list those over as long as your arm. But in amongst those negatives, there are some little positive nuggets, and it has pushed people to do stuff where they think they put it off for so long. And I think people will come out of this and go, do you know what? I'm doing that now, because I've just had 18 months of my life shut down. I did this because of lockdown. You know, it's been an idea, it'd been in my head for months and months and months, and I thought, you know what, stop it, let's give it a go, and that's what it's all about. And I think if the positive for you guys is that you've got your heads back together and you've realised that you've got something great on your hands, then fantastic.
Yes, I think that's what lockdown, the only positive that's come out of it is that you reevaluate what's important in life, and what actually means stuff. I think a lot of the superficial stuff and the day-to-day stuff that you took for granted, it means a lot more than not the day-to-day stuff. It means a lot more than you ever gave it credit for.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's like with this, it was, I don't know, we just felt it was time. We'd always been quite optimistic about things and stuff, and there's a lot of optimism and hope in the album, and now it just seemed like a good time to actually put it out there and see what people think.
Fab. So obviously Drop Your Arms is out at the moment. Is there a follow-up single coming up shortly, Kev? Or?
Yes, I think the We're Not Wanted is going to be the next single, which is not with the singles there. We've always had quite a pop sensibility and stuff, whereas we've been probably into heavier bands and stuff. But with the album, it's a story. I think we're going to release the most songs with the biggest pop sensibilities on there, but there's songs on the album that I'm really proud of that won't be released as singles, but are really worthwhile checking out.
Brilliant. And when can we expect the album?
We just we're going to do a limited run on the vinyl, so we're hoping around June, July time.
Brilliant. We shall keep an eye out, and obviously to those who follow me on Twitter, etc., any links to it, etc., will be whacked on straight away, because that's the whole idea of this, is to support anyone that comes on here and supports me. They get my full support back. So that's the way it is.
Thank you very much.
So moving on to your other love in life, and the Sky Blues of Coventry City Football Club.
Yep.
So we're going to start with 7 Up. So get to know your love of Coventry. So started off with an easy one. Your biggest high following Coventry City?
There'll be a few, to be honest. I'll probably reference one later on when I talk about the five-a-side team, and it's the reason why one of the players is in there. But as a kid, I followed City everywhere, like with my dad and stuff. And then when I was old enough to go with my pals and that, we'd go. But we'd never won at Villa Park. So I used to go with my dad, and because he was quite high in the union in the post office, he'd always get tickets, but we'd be in the Holt End. So I spent 10, 15 years in the Holt End watching Villa beat us every time that we played them. So I think it was 98 in the Cup, the 5th round of the Cup, beating Villa 1-0. Birol Moldovan scored. And it was, I think I finished about 30 rows in front of me. it was just one of those. Whereas I'm not one now looking back with rivals. I'm not that asked about what other teams around us do now. But as a kid, it's a different ball game, isn't it?
Oh, it's the be all and end all, isn't it? It's my lad, when we lost to Man United this year, 6-2, you know, for me, it was just great to be back playing him again. And yeah, it was a disappointment. We got hammered. He was devastated for weeks. That's
what it's about, isn't it? It's like I've got my two boys now and stuff. So my eldest, he's been to Wembley twice now in the checker trade and the League One playoff final and stuff, and that was League Two, sorry, playoff final. I get confused now. Fourth division for me. But no, he's been to Wembley more times than I'd been, and I'm 38, 39 now. Yeah. So it's just we've had some great days the last few years, but after some really, really difficult times as well.
Yeah. So which takes us a beautiful link. It's almost like you could read my question. So your lowest low following Coventry?
There'll be a few. I don't know. As a kid and stuff, it was getting relegated against Villa from the Premier League, but the lowest has to be going to Northampton. That then coming back and Russell Slade being in charge. We played some awful football. It was when we were being relegated to League Two. I lost a bit of faith after we went down to Northampton. I stopped going for a couple of years because I didn't agree with going down there. And then with Russell Slade, I started coming back again when we got back to the Rico and stuff. But the Russell Slade era was grim. But then the irony of that is that he was in charge when we beat Wycombe in the semi-final of the checker trade to get to Wembley for the first time since '87. Which is so I can't speak too bad of the man, but football dire. Football was absolutely dire.
Yeah. And it's funny you said about the ground share thing. It's funny how fans, I'm as guilty as anyone for this. So obviously you guys had to go to Northampton every other week and are still going to Birmingham every other week to watch your own team play when you're in a massive city which has got a fantastic stadium which you can't even play in. It's just it's a disgrace, isn't it? It really is.
It is. It's I was very vehemently against Sisu when they went down to Northampton because they were trying to bankrupt ACL and try and get the stadium on the cheap and stuff. So I wouldn't set foot anywhere near Northampton. I think most City fans were the same. Whereas this time, I'll be honest, I've been going to Birmingham with my eldest and stuff because it's a different ball game. Once the council sold out to Wasps, it wasn't a football stadium anymore. But the decline of the club basically was when we sold Highfield Road. As soon as that went, it was never the club that I loved when I was growing up. And I think as much as I say it was about going to Northampton, I'd stopped going for a lot longer because the Rico is it's just a bit soulless, to be honest. It takes me, the side of Coventry that I'm on, I'm as quick going to Birmingham as I am to the Rico. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Bloody hell. So favourite ever player in a Coventry shirt, not necessarily the best, doesn't even need to make your five-a-side team, just that player you just think, that's who I want to be when I was in the playground as a kid or whatever.
I think you just hit the nail on the head. My favourite player, I'm going to have to go back to when I was a kid, and it was David Speedy.
Yeah.
He scored a hat-trick against Sheffield Wednesday and against Middlesbrough with his head. I think it was about 5'0".
Yeah.
I was only small as a kid in that, and he was just, I think he proper had little man syndrome on it, and he would kick off with anyone, but he punched above his weight, and I respected that even as a kid. But some of there were a couple of lob goals and stuff, and as a kid, if I was in the playground, I wanted to be Speedy.
Yeah, he was
lunatic though.
I mean, to the youngsters watching this show, go on YouTube, David Speedy. There's bound to be loads of fouls, loads of kickoffs with people because he was the angriest man ever.
But he had such a class about him as well, to be fair to him.
Oh, he was quality. He was a top player. I mean, when I was just thinking back to when he was at Chelsea, when you had him and Kerry Dixon together, they were unplayable as a pairing, weren't they? Class act. So on the flip side, the worst player you've seen in a Coventry shirt.
Oh Christ! I didn't know you were going to do that. I could literally.
I don't want to.
How do I get down to what? I'm sticking my neck out. Sandy Robertson. He was a player we signed from Rangers. Rangers always seem to stitch us up with players. We brought Kevin Drinkle off him as well. Whereas we had a player called Chris Marsden. I don't know whether you remember him. He played for Wolves and Southampton.
Shaving-headed midfielder.
Yeah. He did an absolute crack job. We had him on loan. And for some reason, we didn't sign him. We signed Sandy Robertson instead, who I think played about 30 seconds.
That was enough.
Too much.
So, guilty pleasure of another team that you quite like?
Oh Christ, I haven't even thought of guilty pleasure. I don't know. I always root for the underdog, so it's dependent. I don't know. It's always been very much Cov centric and stuff. So it was. I'll probably have to ask my kids that. I struggle to answer that.
We'll go with it. The underdog is fine. We'll take that. That's all right.
Yeah. No, thank you.
So, any players over the years that you just wish you'd signed, and a realistic one, obviously we all wish we'd signed Messi or Ronaldo, but in reality, a realistic one, we thought, why didn't we get him, or why didn't we go for him, or?
Well, there was one where we actually did sign Robert Yarney, and then he went to Real Madrid from us, but I think there was a few shenanigans going on. But after Euro 96 and stuff, I'm not sure whether it was a World Cup in 98, but Yarney he was, for me, the best fullback in the world at the time. So for us to even be anywhere near him was obscene. But I think he appeared on the sidelines for a testimonial, and then we flogged him before the start of the season.
It was very bizarre, wasn't it?
It would have been, yeah. If it had actually played, then I think it would have made a difference.
Yeah. I remember. I've forgotten all about him. So where are you going to finish this season? Bear in mind you're playing Swansea in about 15 minutes, so.
Yeah, 17th I'm going for. I think we'll be safe. We play some really good football. Like Mark Robbins, God bless him, he's a breath of fresh air in the club. Whereas, as I say about the worst times in the Russell Slade, since Robbins has come back, the unity that's happened in the club, despite what's going on, it's unbelievable, really.
Yeah.
When we're in League Two, when we're in League One, there's a connection with the fans that hasn't been there probably in 20, 30 years.
Which is all you want, isn't it? As a fan, that is all you want. You can take losing, you can take being poor, but
of course you can.
If you've got that connection.
There's an affinity with the players, there's an affinity with the manager, and it feels like it's our club again, which it hasn't done for a long, long time. So regardless of whether we're playing in Birmingham, we're playing up at the Rico, it's irrelevant to me. It feels like my club again. Yeah,
right, which is all you want. So so either or then. So you get a choice of, quite simply, either or. So Census gained national exposure and hit #1 in the album charts, or Coventry clinched promotion to the Premier League, but you can only have one.
I'd go #1 album. You want everyone to listen to your music, don't you? Yeah. We're going to get promotion anyway, eventually.
Good answer. So stay at St Andrews, but you're in the Championship for the next 15 years, or you go to a brand new ground back in Coventry, but you drop back to League Two for 15 years.
I'd go League Two, depending on what ground it is in Cov. If there were plans muted around the Butts Rugby Club, and there is some down at the university. We need 20,000 seat stadium, similar to Highfield Road. Fill it every week and have an atmosphere. For me, it's different for the kids and stuff, but for me personally, what league we're in is kind of a bit irrelevant. As long as you're there with your pals, your family and stuff, and having a good day out, anything else is a bonus, isn't it?
Highfield Road used to be great. I
don't know anyone who hasn't got a good thing to say about Highfield Road. Everyone loved it. Like away fans, anyone that I've spoken to loved it because it's a proper old ground.
It was a proper atmosphere, and it was always an interesting time as an away fan. Getting away from the ground to the train station afterwards was always an interesting experience.
Yeah, well, I remember you Leeds boys coming on the pitch in '92, I think. I don't know many seats left.
So Messi or Ronaldo?
If you'd said 3-4 years ago, I would have said Messi, but I don't know. I'm torn on it. I think I'll probably go Ronaldo now. I just think the fact that he's done it in so many different leagues and stuff. I don't know. It's a difficult one.
Yeah,
you've got to have respect for both of them. The fact that they've done it at the top level for as long as they have, season in, season out. But I think just with what's going on, I think I'll probably go Ronaldo. And I never thought I'd say that.
It's okay to change. I think next year I'm going to change it to Mbappe or Haaland, and we'll see. I think those two they're about to do very similar. I think.
I thought you were on about Alfinga.
VAR or no VAR? It's usually an easy one.
Yes, no VAR. Yeah. We don't have it in the lower leagues and stuff, and it's just I think it just takes the enjoyment out of it. Part of it for me was getting upset and having a chat in the pub afterwards and stuff, and being outraged about it. You want the world against you in football sometimes, don't you?
Damn right.
It's part of the game. Yeah. Whereas I think it's just it sanitizes it too much, and you want to get lost in the moment. As I said about Villa Park, you end up 20 seats in front, or 20 rows in front. But then, what's the point of doing that if it's then cancelled for being offside? It takes away the fun of it.
If you saw West Ham's second goal on Sunday against Tottenham, where they gave it as offside, Lingard kind of half celebrated, and then they gave it again, and he went off and celebrated again. He's just like, that's not football.
Yeah. It's a game of emotion. It's similar to music and stuff. You want emotion in it. You want to get lost in the moment, and you just want to enjoy it, don't you?
Yeah. So anyway, so it's time to channel your inner John Sinnott from the old 87 days. So there'll be youngsters watching now going, "Who's John Sinnott?" So your ultimate five-a-side team that you've seen live. So usual rules: 1 goalie, 1 defender, 2 midfielders, 1 striker. So we'll start with your goalie then, please, Kev.
Yeah, you're going to hate me for this, but I'm going Peter Schmeichel.
Oh, I can't hate you. Not for that.
No, when you look at him, how many keepers do you fancy when it was 1-on-1?
Yeah.
And you just didn't fancy strikers against him. Great keeper.
Yeah, no, he was probably, if not the best the Premier League has seen since '92, then he's got to be in the top 2. I'm struggling to think of many better, to be honest.
No, it's the fact that he did season after season and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Unbelievable keeper.
Yeah, no, give you that one as much as it pains me.
Yeah.
A defender in front of him?
Gone for Maldini.
Oh. Where do you see Paolo?
The bass player, he lives in Milan. So I was fortunate enough to go over to a Milan derby. So yeah, he's just a touch of class, isn't he?
Yeah.
How many other defenders can you look at? I wish I'd seen Baresi, but obviously I didn't. So I could pick Baresi. So yeah, Maldini for me.
And the annoying thing about Maldini is he's a centre half who never even looks like he's played a game of football. He's just like this suave.
It's cool as a cucumber. Yeah, exactly. It's what you want in a footballer. Yeah.
Just makes you ill.
Yeah.
But no, class act. Absolutely class act. The original ball-playing defender.
Yeah.
So first of your 2 midfielders then, my friend?
I think you're going to like my midfield. I've gone for Gary McAllister.
Yeah.
Is my first one. He was too good for Cov at that time. I remember we were down at West Ham away over Christmas, the first season he signed, and Cov fans were booing him. Which I was just at the time. I was just like, can you not see that he's too good for this team? I think he was playing alongside Julian Darby or someone, and basically they just weren't on his wavelength. Whereas the second and third season, we brought in Haji Chippo, we had Keane and Dublin up front, and the man was magic. Put the ball at his feet, and he was in his mid-30s at this point, but just a class act and a gentleman off the field as well.
Yeah, the first season with us, he really struggled, and similarly, there was a lot of people at Leeds weren't having him that first season, but the second season, '92, when we won the title, he was incredible, absolutely incredible. He just pulled the strings, and he never really got that 4-man midfield. He probably never got the credit he deserved because Strachan took all the credit because. He was the sort of the golden boy, if you like, of the 4. But McAllister, and as a Scotsman as well, he's fantastic. I got a lot of time for Gary Mack, and even as a manager, he had a tough time as a manager with us, and people didn't really turn on him because they still liked him. So I'm glad he kind of left with his he left with his head held high.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Cool. So who are you having alongside Gary Mack then?
The second one is a bit left field. I'm going for Michael Doyle.
Michael Doyle? He was at Leeds, right?
Yeah. The man, when we were down, the chips were down in League 2, he came in and he basically got us promoted.
Yeah.
There was a game, the semi-final away against Notts County, which obviously it's a tie between that and the Villa game. We absolutely played him off the park, and it was down to Doyle. But I don't know, it was just something, you could see how much it meant to him afterwards at the final whistle. If you get a chance, have a look on YouTube and it shows the celebrations. And it was just, that's when I finally felt that we had the club back again. And it was because of characters like Michael Doyle. Technically not the most gifted player, but he had a drive, and you could see that the players respected him. And it's for that you have to respect him, and you need someone like that in your team.
Yeah, he's the classic. There's a brick wall. Go and run through that for me, and he would do it. He's, you could never ever question his commitment, his work rate, his desire. Like you said, technically not the greatest, but boy, he could do a job when you needed him to do a job. And that's go on. Sorry.
I had to say, he wasn't the most technically gifted, but you look when he was playing, he was orchestrating everything. So we had talented players in that team, like McNulty up front and stuff, but everything went through Doyle. Absolute. I've got so much time for the man. Just that him and Robin started a revival at the club. So I'll always have a massive amount of time for Michael Doyle.
Is he at Notts County? Because he went to Notts County, didn't he? After that,
County, yeah. I think he played in goal recently. I think he was in the news game. He used to play, because he's Irish. We're all from Irish descent and stuff, but he used to play Gaelic football, I think, which is he's crediting for his goal.
Brilliant. So who are you having as your star striker?
Star striker, Callan the singer. He's a gooner, so I thought I'd better have to put one of them in. So it's Dennis Bergkamp.
Right. Okay.
And even if he wasn't an Arsenal fan, I think I'd still probably put him in. Again, it's just a classy player. You look at him and everything's effortless. You look at the goals against Leicester, Newcastle, the one against Holland and stuff. I don't know. It's just, I could watch YouTube videos of him all day. Fantastic player.
Yeah, and again, another player who had the ability to, without even moving his body, buy himself a yard of space. He could just, because he was so fast, so much faster than everyone else up there. He just bought himself a yard of space. No, that's a pretty strong five-a-side team. It's got to be said.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Michael Doyle being in there, but even then,
someone's got to run around kicking people. He could do all the dirty work and let the other four carry on.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Last but not least, Kev, you've very kindly chosen a game for Guess V Knowledge, which I'm getting absolutely battered in at the moment by my wife, which is very embarrassing and I need to sort out. So which game have you chosen for us for the weekend?
We've gone for Leeds v Villa.
Yeah, thank you for that.
What could possibly go wrong?
I can't tip us not to win, so whatever happens, I'm putting us to win. So, Kevin, thank you so much for that. Really appreciated it, guys.
Thank you very much.
If you can go and download the song now, it's called "Drop Your Arms" by Senses. It's on Apple Music, Spotify, everywhere you can find your music, you'll find it. If you're really struggling, you can go on my Twitter feed and you'll find it, because we put it on there the other day. It's a top tune, and as the man himself said, you've got an album coming in the summer, so why not get on board with the guys now before the album comes out, and then you can say you were following them before they hit the big time with the album.
Thank you very much.
No problem, mate. So thank you so much, and back to the show.
It's the best dream you ever had. It's the best dream you won't allow. It's the best dream you ever had with a feeling. And a lot. You gonna stop taking all these words, turning them back into something worse than what leaves my.
So there we have it then. So first things first, go and download Drop Your Arms. It's a quality tune, well worth listening to. You won't be disappointed, trust me. Album out later on in the year to look forward to as well, and top fellow as Kev. We had a good laugh with it as well, and the best of it is he wanted to do it earlier so that he could get off and watch the Coventry game because they were playing on the same night, and he did message me a bit later saying we might as well have just done it at the normal time because it was boring anyway. And who thought we'd see the day that Michael Doyle and Paolo Maldini would share a five-a-side team? That's what this show is all about. But anyway, next week we're going all professional. We've got a proper football person on here. One that works in football, he gets paid for being in football. So yeah, we've got the goalkeeper coach of Tottenham Hotspur Women, Steve Hale, is joining us next week. He's been goalkeeper coach at a few Football League clubs over the years as well. He's a top lad, Steve, and he's coming on next week. So if you've got any questions you want to ask about goalkeeper coaches, what do they do during the week, What do they do on a Saturday? How do they mix up their warm-ups? That sort of thing. Anything you want to know about goalkeeper coaches, fire your questions in the comments below, and any sensible ones I'll fire to Halo next week. So let's tidy up the lineal UEFA and lineal European Cup information. Then in the lineal European Cup, Eintracht Frankfurt were defending the trophy against long-time holders Bayern Munich, who'd only lost it a few weeks previous. Well, fair play to Frankfurt. They saw them off. They won 2-1. And so they held on to the trophy. By the time you watch this on Saturday morning, they'll have defended it again because they're playing on Friday night. They travel to Werder Bremen. So Eintracht Frankfurt may still hold the trophy when you watch this. They may not. It may have gone to Werder Bremen. We'll wait and see. Check out Instagram. That's where all the information goes on those. In the lineal UEFA Cup, Borussia Dortmund retained it. They thumped their local derby rival Schalke 4-0 last weekend. They will be defending it against Arminia Bielefeld. Hopefully that's pronounced right to all you Arminia fans. When their relegation threatened sides, Dortmund got to be favourites to retain their trophy again. So that's being played on Saturday afternoon. So keep your eyes on Instagram to see the information on that. So just to prove that I do listen to my subscribers and what they want, at the request of one of my subscribers from last week, this little segment is just for you. So I think Moldavia in the 1300s is a rather tricky subject. Do we focus on the Vlach noblemen Dragos of Badu or Bogdan of Cuheu? I prefer to celebrate the achievements of Prince Stephen the Great, who ruled from 1457 to 1504 when he fought the Hungarian kingdom, the Polish kingdom and the Ottoman Empire, all of them with success. So I hope that clears that up for you. For the rest of you and me, who had to look all that up on Wikipedia, no, I've got no clue either. I didn't even know where Moldavia was. It's now Moldova. Anyway, there we go. But, you know, he asked, he was given. I serve my people. So Ted, you're back. So, ready to guess how old again? Of course I am. Love proving you wrong. Hang on, what's happened to the well-spoken Ted that was on earlier? Mr. Posh. He was a bit of a knob, wasn't he? I couldn't keep it up. People come on here to see me taking the piss out of you, not be all hoity-toity. Anyway, get the old bold Scottish fella on the screen. Hang on, is it you? Ted, that's not even funny. You know it's not me. I told you his name was Michael Gillespie. So, you know the game. When this photo was taken of Michael Gillespie, how old was he? Simple as that. So, before you guess, Ted, let's hear what the audience got to say. Ronnie from Donny, miles out. Absolutely miles out. Gail from Sale, not even close. He's way younger than that. Dear me. So what do you reckon then, Ted? 47. Just say that again, Ted. 47. It's you at 47. Ted, it's not bloody me. And no, he isn't 47, bloody bear. So when this photo of Michael Gillespie was taken, he was the grand old age of 26. 26. Wowzers. Bloody hell, Reedy, you look terrible when you were 26. Enough, Ted. See you next week, my old friend. Honestly, it is not me. It was Michael Gillespie. Honestly, that bear. He will. Whether he makes it to the end of this year, I don't know. I can see him being dropped and someone else being brought in as the co-host at this rate. Bloody bear. Anyway, so how old did you get on? How did you guess Mr. Gillespie was? Did you get it bang on the money? Were you right? Were you miles out? Leave your guesses and comments in the section below. I love reading them, love replying to them, so please leave them in there. And of course, any other comments you've got as well. Maybe anything about Moldavia you want to know. I'm your man, Mr. Moldavia, they call me now. So last but not least, Guess v Knowledge. Why the bloody hell has that become the theme tune? So let's head. Last week I headed into it. I was trailing 12-9, and we both tipped Leicester to win at Aston Villa. Sadly for me, somebody tipped Leicester to win 2-1, and somebody tipped Leicester to win 3-1. And of course, the somebody who guessed Leicester winning 2-1 was Guess. Yeah, so she got 3 points, I got 1 point. So the score now is Guess 15, Knowledge 10. this is beginning to get a little bit humiliating. I'm not going to lie, where I'm getting a little bit nervous that I might lose this now. It's getting kind of serious. So anyway, as you heard, Kevin from Census very kindly picked us Leeds United v Aston Villa, which puts me in a bit of a predicament. But anyway, so Guest gave a usual in-depth analysis of the game with, oh well, you were bound to get a Leeds game sooner or later, as if that's going to be any sort of advantage. Anyway, after a little while, she's plumped for a 2-0 Leeds win. So here we go. This could massively bite me on the arse, because being a Leeds fan, I can't go against Leeds, no matter what. No matter who we're playing, I can't go against us. So I did say last week I felt Villa were beginning to slide off the scale a little bit. They'd lost any momentum they'd gained at the start of the season, had just gone. And that first half last week against Leicester ran them absolutely ragged. I will give Villa a bit of credit. Second half they battled back. They were the better side in the second half, pulled a goal back, got it to 2-1, but they never really looked like getting a draw or anything better out of the game. So they're missing Grealish. He's still out of this weekend's game, but on the flip side we're missing Calvin Phillips, so one tends to offset the other, I would say. We battered them at their place, but that means absolutely nothing. I think they will come and try and sit in and frustrate us, because they know that is usually the teams that cause us the most problems. I think Dean Smith will get his team to line up very defensively and sit in and try and hit us on the counter. But I will say, I don't think they're good enough defensively to do it. I think Tyrone Mings is massively overrated, and I don't think they're good enough defensively to play that game. So I think it'll be tight, but I think Leeds will nick it, and I think it'll be a 2-1 win. So tune in tomorrow night to watch me get humiliated a little bit more in Guest v knowledge. Can I close the 15-10 deficit? Who knows? So people, that is it for this week. Thank you so much again for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed the show. Don't forget, if you haven't done already, please click the subscribe button below. If you have subscribed already, don't click it again, because that unsubscribes you and that takes the numbers down rather than up, which is what we want. Do give me a little thumbs up. It's very good for one thing, my ego, nothing else. Put your comments in. I love those. Love seeing your comments. So please comment below. What do you want to ask Steve Hale, the Tottenham goalie coach? What do you think of Senses? What do you think of Ted and his posh voice, or would you rather have his non-posh voice? Should I get rid of Ted totally? Just anything you like. Just comment and put your thoughts in the comment below. So for now, thanks very much for watching. Ding ding, all aboard the BTFM bus. Next stop, Saturday the 6th of March, episode 29. As always, guys, stay safe. Normality is on the way. We've had the nod, it's coming. So just keep digging in, guys. Stay safe. We'll be back next Saturday. See you soon.